Okay, so we've learned a lot about parameters and arguments and some of the cool features that Python gives us, but we have to be very careful about how we order them in a function. So there is an order we have to follow, or else things could break, and more often than not, they will break. So this is the order. In our function declarations, we put parameters first, so the specifically named parameters, then star args, then default parameters, then ** keyword args. And this only applies if you need a function that has all four of these. You might just have parameters and star args. You might just have default parameters and keyword args, but they have to be in this order. So whatever subset of these, they need to be in this order. So let me show you an example. I think it will make it clearer why you need an order. So surprise, surprise, I have a file with a trivial example that is useless except to explain why the order matters. So it's a function called display_info, and it takes in a bunch of different parameters, but they are all in the correct order. So we have named parameters like A and B. Then we have star args, which will capture any additional arguments. Then we have a default parameter, so instructor is equal to colt. And then we have keyword args. Okay, so there's a lot going on here. And all this function does is return a list that contains A and then B, and then args, and then instructor, and then keyword args. So basically it just shows us the value of everything that was passed in, or in the case of a default value, not passed in. So when we print display info and we pass in 1, 2, 3, last name equals Steele, job equals instructor, what do we expect? So let's just kind of type along here. So first things first, A is going to be 1, right? So we'll have A is 1. Then B is going to be 2, right? And then we have args. And args will actually contain, it will be a tuple, because remember it will collect anything here that's remaining, and it will be only containing 3. Because afterwards we have all these keyword args. But first, we have instructor with a default value. So instructor is going to be set to colt because nothing was passed in. And then we have our remaining ** KW args, KW, I keep saying that, KW args. And that will be a dictionary, right? Where we have last name is set to Steele, and we have job is set to instructor. Technically this needs quotes around it. Okay. And so this whole thing is KW args. So hopefully you can see why this order is important for things like args and ** KW args, which are like the cleanup crews. They grab everything else that's remaining. We have to have the named parameters first, the specific parameters definitely. And then keyword arguments always come afterwards. So let's verify, see if we're right, and just print this out. And this is what we get. So I'll just copy this over so we can take a look. And we get what we expect. So we have A is 1, B is 2, args is this tuple 3. You might be wondering why there's a comma in there. If we actually let's just do a print args. So I'm not even going to return anymore. Let's just print args. That's what we get, this 3 comma. And then let's even go further and do print type of args. And we can see, if I can get this to work, there we go. It definitely is a tuple. It's just bizarre because it's a single item tuple. And by default, Python will add that comma in there to distinguish it from parentheses, because we can put parentheses around any number or around a mathematical operation or something. This isn't a tuple. This isn't a tuple, but that is. So it's just what Python does for single item tuples. Okay, and then we have colt, which is the value of instructor. So by default, it's set to colt. And then we have last name, which is Steele, and job instructor. Both were picked up by ** KW args. In the event that this video made absolutely no sense to you, all that you need to remember is that there is a specific order we want to follow when using parameters or when defining functions. Parameters first that have specific names, then star args, then default parameters, and then ** KW args. Follow this order.